Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us today. Well, we've got a quick pistol video for you today, and we're going to be taking a look at the Kimber Micro 9 stainless. This is kind of a follow-up to a video we did last year on another Micro 9 that was a little bit higher end, and had some people wondering if they could get into a pistol like this with great features and not have to spend quite so much. So in the interest of addressing that, we're going to cover this pistol and all of its features. We're going to get into all that in just a minute. All right, once again, thanks for being with us today. If this is your first time coming to the channel, welcome aboard. We appreciate you being here. If you've been watching our videos and you're back again, well, thanks for coming back. If you haven't subscribed to our channel and you like our content, please consider doing so. It does help us out a lot. All you got to do is just find that little button there in the right-hand corner of your screen and give that a press. And then, of course, if you're on a mobile device, you can scroll down below the video and subscribe that way. And once again, it really helps us out, so we appreciate it. So, the Kimber Micro 9 stainless. I really like this little pistol. Like I say, last year we discussed the KHX version, which we also have here, and I'll bring this one back in for a minute for some comparison whenever we get to that part of it. But we always like to start these videos out doing a couple things here. We're going to show you that we're clear before we do anything else. You can see that the weapon is empty and it is safe. So we always like to start off with a little comparison between the pistols, take a look at their size relative to other things. And so I have here a Sig Sauer P938. And if you look at these two, one of the other reasons I chose this little 938 is because it, without the extended magazine, these two are pretty close in size. I've carried both of these pistols before, and I think they're both great. But if you can take a look, you can see that they are similar. The Kimber's actually just a little bit bigger on most of its dimensions. You can see it's a little bit slightly longer. It's a little bit thicker through here, and it's got a little bit more in the area of the grip. And if you go across and take a look here, you can look and see that the length, like I said, it's very little. If you line up your back end here, you can see that they're very similar, just slight difference. The thickness is about the same. And where the real difference comes in is, of course, you see you got an extended magazine there on the Kimber, which makes it a little bit bigger. But they're extremely similar in size. And I think that if you're used to carrying any of these smaller pistols like the Sig, and there are some others like it, that'll give you a pretty good idea of what it's going to be like. They're very close in weight and size. We're going to get right into the features, of course, but before we do, we want to take a minute to thank our friends over at Don's Weaponry for providing us this beautiful example of this Kimber Micro 9 stainless with the rosewood grips. Don's Weaponry is a huge supporter of firearm safety and education, and we just can't thank them enough for their support. So, having a look at this thing, Kimber does a really good job with these little Micro 9 pistols here. And just to clarify for those that aren't familiar with the line, this is what you're going to call a 1911 style pistol. It's not a true 1911 because mechanically it's missing several things that would be in a 1911, including a grip safety. But as far as operation, it's going to have some similarities, not unlike the Sig 938 that we compared it to, in that this is a hammer-fired single-action pistol that you have to cock the hammer, and then, of course, you can keep it with the safety on. You can carry it like a 1911, of course, and then take your shot. This is the same way. This is a pistol that it is single action. You can carry it cocked and locked like a 1911, but it is not a true 1911. It is just a hammer-fired semi-automatic single-action pistol. But taking a look at it here, no particular order. Of course, your sight picture on this one is a white dot sight system. And of course, throughout the course of this, we're going to be doing a little comparison with the KHX I mentioned, because some of this has to do with how they got the price different on these. On the KHX, you can see they've got the fiber optic sights on there. And for some people, that's a big deal, and for some people, it's not. The white dot sights have got really good visibility, so I don't see any issue there. Your slide, you've got these rear serrations on your slide. On the KHX, you have slide serrations on the front and rear, and they're kind of an odd, honeycomb configuration here. Your trigger, the triggers on these are pretty good. As I said, this is a 1911 style pistol. I'll talk more about the trigger when we go over the range section, but it's got a really good trigger, and the trigger is going to be the same as what we looked at on the KHX. Your grip, you've got this rosewood grip. I rather like this. If you look at it, you've got really good texturing on this grip, and it feels really nice in your hand. There's several pistols I have like this that are small that have nice work on the grip. The the SIG that we use as a size example is the same way. I think if you have a rosewood grip and it has a good area of texture in it like this to help you hold on to the pistol, I think this is a really nice looking, but it's also a very practical grip to go on the firearm. So we were talking about the magazine. Well, the advantage that you get with this between, say, the SIG I was looking at, of course, this standard magazine holds 6 rounds. All of the Micro 9s come with the extended magazine, which gives them 7 rounds. So it makes this a 7+1 capacity, which is kind of nice for a smaller pistol. And, a lot of people are going to have issues with a 7-round capacity on a pistol just because, capacity for some people is going to be the biggest priority. But, I think that if you've got 7 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, if you've got 8 rounds of a capable caliber like 9mm, there's no reason in the world that you couldn't feel confident to carry something like this. You see that you've got the texturing here on the back of the grip. I like this. Feels really good, but it's not so much that it's annoying. You've got a pretty good beaver tail there to protect your hand. I really like this design because if you have a medium to larger hand and you hold a small pistol like this, you know that having a beaver tail to protect your hand from the slide is a very nice thing. The fit and finish of the firearm is really nice. As you look it over, you can tell that good quality materials have gone into this. Really good attention to detail. It just looks really good. Of course, your slide release is right here, and this also doubles as your disassembly lever. When you go to take this down, what you actually have to do is you will line up. There's a little notch right here, and you get this aligned perfectly with this little bump here, and then you push the takedown lever through from the other side, and then once you push that through, you can just push the entire slide assembly off of the firearm, and you can do the normal things that you would do as far as cleaning and such. There's a complete takedown video built into the KHX video if you want to refer back to that, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. But as you can see, it makes for a pretty good feature set on this small gun, and I think that it's not bad. Like I say, I'm usually a fan of different sights. I like the fiber optic or night sights, but it's not a deal breaker because the dot sights on this are, they're very, very good. It's very visible and it's very easy to pick up. So if I changed anything at all, the only thing would be the sights, but I think it's got a great set of features. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about the range. I always get impressed when I have a small firearm, a compact pistol design like this. that's not finicky with its ammunition, because I've had a lot of pistols over the years that I really, really liked, but I couldn't run certain types of ammo through them, like they didn't like hollow points in a lot of cases. And these little Kimber Micro 9s, I gotta say, I've been pretty impressed with them so far. And this one in particular, range ammo, it didn't seem to have any issues with any of the normal stuff. I had some Blazer too. I'm actually totally out of the Blazer right now. I used the last of it the other day. But so it got more of this PMC and SMB run through it, but it was really good with that. And as far as defensive ammo goes, I'm a pretty big fan of the SIG V Crown, so I've shot plenty of that through it. It seemed to do just fine. The Hornady Critical Duty, this is the 135 grain, and then some of the Barnes, this is a 115 grain defensive round here. Using all of these rounds I just mentioned, I didn't have any failures of any kind with the firearm. And like I say, that's a bit surprising to me, because sometimes with a brand new gun, no matter what, you're going to have a little bit of hiccup here and there. But not with this one. And the other thing is about this, when you're actually shooting the firearm, you got to remember this is a small pistol. You're talking about a 3.15 inch barrel. So anytime you're shooting a gun that has a small barrel like that, and small frame, you can expect to have to do a little work, to get the firearm shooting accurately and, behaving the way that you want it to, basically getting used to how the gun operates. And the Micro 9s are so comfortable in your hand. It's so easy to get and like I say, it's a small gun, but it's easy for me to get a good grip on the firearm with two hands. But it's also very easy to shoot with one hand, and I do that quite a bit actually, practicing with this firearm. But from the time that you take your first shots with the Micro 9, it handles the 9mm round very well. I found myself with very respectable groups on paper just immediately out of the box. And of course, that's the same way it was with the last Micro 9 I looked at, the KHX that we talked about. There's just something about this platform. I think it's well balanced. I think that you've got the right amount of substance in the gun. Everything is balanced out very well, so your 9mm round is very comfortable to shoot with this pistol. Now, like any small pistol, if you shoot a lot of rounds, and I mean, 100, you have to put a lot of magazines through this, you will start to feel it in your hand, because that's a lot of rounds. And just the basic science behind this is obviously you're transferring a lot of energy into your hand, and eventually your hand's going to start to complain a little bit about all the shooting. Well, you got to remember that's practice, versus carrying the gun in real life. Hopefully you will never have to pull your carry firearm for any reason. And if you did, you certainly, hopefully, wouldn't have to use 100 rounds. But at the range, it's very reliable. It's very easy to shoot. It's very accurate. And aside from shooting just really high amounts of ammo through the firearm, it's very comfortable. But like any small pistol, if you shoot boxes upon boxes through it, you're going to feel it. But very good performing firearm, no issues whatsoever. So what's it like to carry this little Micro 9 stainless? Well, I carry, and once again, this is just me, but I'm a pretty big fan of carrying these little small guns like this and something like a sticky. And the main reason that I like to do this is I can just put it right in my pocket. I've got a lot of small pistols that I have experimented with, seeing how comfortable they are to carry. And you can do this in the waistband, of course, too, because that's what these are ultimately designed for, is to do either one. And by the time you have your belt cinched up around this, it's going to stay put. And like I say, I only use these for light, small firearms like these little Micro 9s and similar small firearms. But I think they do a really good job. But for me, I've usually got on, dress pants. Either I've got on cargo pants that have got larger pockets. And this will go right in the front pocket, and it'll stay put. This material that's on the holster, there's a reason I call it sticky, because this stuff is kind of tacky. It maintains that, and it'll stay put in your pocket. So if you want to keep it in an up position like that, to where you can just draw the firearm, it's very easy to do. So for me, I can tell you that comfort on carrying a Micro 9, it ranks really, really high. This is one of my favorite carry pistols of all time. And it's mainly because for the size and the amount of ammunition it carries, for a 7+1 configuration of 9mm, it's one of the lightest, most comfortable, and easy to carry pistols that I own. And it shoots so well. I wish some of my larger pistols were as easy to shoot as this little Micro 9. So, of course, the big three considerations for a carry gun: accuracy, reliability, and comfort. As far as comfort, the Kimber Micro 9 scores very high. It's extremely easy to carry. I would highly recommend it to anyone that's looking for a comfortable carry firearm for daily use. So overall impressions on the Kimber Micro 9 stainless. Well, remember, one of the reasons that we did this video in the first place was just to give you another option, because we had reviewed the Micro 9 KHX, and we did that last year. Now, looking these over, as we said, they're very, very similar. There's just a few things that are different. You know, your sights, you've got a white dot sight, but on the KHX, you have the fiber optic sights. You have the front and rear serrations, kind of a unique pattern on the KHX, and then on the Micro 9 stainless, you just have rear serrations. Your grip, the KHX has got the G10 grips versus the rosewood grips on the stainless. Now, I like the rosewood grips. They have a nice texture in them, and you know, this is also the kind of thing that, you know, you can always upgrade your sights later if you want to. You can upgrade your grips later if you want to. So the big difference between these two, obviously, aside from a few cosmetic changes, are just the sights and the grips, and of course the serrations. So, but the difference in price is very measurable. The KHX goes for about $883, and the stainless goes for around $699. So as you can see, you know, that's a big difference. That's like, you know, $180, over $180 difference between the price of these two firearms. And with the ability to upgrade this, there's no reason in the world that you couldn't start off with something like this, and if you wanted to upgrade the sights, whatever, later. Now, obviously, the slide's a little bit different, and that just depends on whether the extra serrations are important to you or not. But the firearms have the exact same characteristics at the range. They're both extremely reliable and very comfortable. So if you're wanting to spend less money and get the same basic features, have something that's extremely comfortable for concealed carry, then the Micro 9 stainless is a really, really great choice, and I can't say anything bad about it. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks again for watching. Of course, we'll be back very soon with another video for you. So until then, as always, stay safe and have a great day. Thank you.